Now at 11, Portland detectives investigating property crimes being moved elsewhere. Why Portland police say the shift won't change their mission. Plus, tens of thousands of air travelers disrupted this weekend while SeaTac officials deal with a cyber attack. And later, an East Portland intersection being called a recipe for disaster after a deadly hit and run.
It doesn't just affect big box retailers. It's going to affect the small businesses as well.
The Portland Police Bureau says that they have transferred detectives out of the property crimes unit. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Art Edwards. The transfer means they will no longer have investigators exclusively working these types of cases. Ashley Grahams joins us from the newsroom right now. Ashley, will anyone be investigating these crimes?
Well, Art, last month, Oregon Public Broadcasting was the first to report on this change. Since then, the 3 detectives within the property crimes unit have been reassigned to different units. But Portland police say this doesn't mean they will stop investigating crimes like retail theft. Instead, these cases will be assigned to a detective at each of the 3 precincts. We talked with the president of the Oregon Retail Crime Association about this change. He's concerned that without detectives focused solely on property crime, the Bureau will have a harder time investigating and arresting some of the more sophisticated retail criminals.
They mentioned that they were going to continue investigating organized retail crime. And I do think, them continuing the theft missions, we certainly appreciate that. But that's just kind of, you're catching your everyday shoplifter. You're not necessarily always catching the big groups or the organized retail crime groups.
Well, a spokesperson from Portland Police says these property crimes detectives have been reassigned to the sex crimes unit and the special victims unit. And they shared this note from Police Chief Bob Day. Change is always difficult, but it is imperative that we make these important decisions when it comes to using our resources to address the most egregious crimes. Art.
Thank you, Ashley. Here's a live look from Portland where we saw temperatures a little bit warmer today, but things are going to get much warmer over the next few days. We're going to check in now with meteorologist Joe Ranieri with just how hot things are going to get this week. Joe?
All right, I have a question for you. How does a 3-4 day stretch of temperatures close to 90 sound to you? Do you like that?
Yeah, I like that, all right.
Yeah, it's not something we've seen in the last couple of weeks, but we kicked off the first part of August with some heat, and then we definitely have cooled down over the last couple of weeks. But things are about to change a little bit. Tomorrow, we're going to go back to summer weather. Throughout the morning hours, we'll be looking at temperatures starting out by 7 a.m. in the upper 50s, but by the early part of the afternoon, we'll be looking at temperatures close to the upper 70s. By 2 o'clock, 80 degrees. I'm forecasting a high tomorrow anywhere from the low to the mid 80s. So it's going back to a more typical August forecast for the last week of August. There is a slight chance to see some rain showers develop late tomorrow night and early Tuesday. But again, for the most part, it's not going to be impacting our lives heading into the early part of the week. Here's a live look over in Newport right now. Clear skies. Temperatures are in the mid 50s, but notice that humidity level right around the upper 80% level. So currently we're looking at temperatures in the upper 50s to low 60s. And I'm not expecting to see record-breaking heat, but if you've been missing the summer-like weather, well, it's going to be arriving heading into the middle part of this week at the earliest. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe. On this busy travel Sunday, a cyber attack is affecting operations and causing headaches at SeaTac. Yesterday morning, airport staff first discovered unauthorized activity on the port system. Tonight, they confirmed the attack. Our Seattle sister station talked with experts who say this should be a wake-up call.
Next guest, I got 2 machines down here.
Throughout the weekend, SCA airport staff have had limited internet access,
including our ability to send and receive data, including email.
But the public also lost access to the airport's website, portseattle.org. No word yet on who did the hacking or why.
So we don't know specifically what anyone might be after. We're still conducting active investigations going on right now.
A cybersecurity expert I spoke to, Emil Sayeg, says,
this is not something new.
Ransomware attacks grew 74% across the world last year, according to the Director of National Intelligence, with U.S. entities most heavily targeted.
Airports are big prizes for hackers because you disrupt a lot of people's lives.
What would be the motive? Is it money or something bigger?
I think this is probably motivated by people trying to figure out whether they can They can attack our critical infrastructure.
In October of 2022, the websites for Chicago O'Hare Airport, LAX, ATL, and 11 others were also temporarily disabled by cyber attackers.
A brute force attack on systems.
In that case, Russian protesters claimed responsibility.
But this looks like it's something different because it has been ongoing, up and down, and it is affecting, it looks like, some of the baggage handling systems.
While SEA's staff work to find answers,
We can't yet say when this will be resolved.
pressure's on. The TSA expects next weekend to be the busiest Labor Day weekend on record across U.S. airports.
Imagine if this was next weekend.
An expected 8.5% more crowded than last year's. But Sayegh says the bigger risk is if we don't act to protect ourselves in the future.
The danger right now is that we move on and we forget about this after everything's recovered. It is not that complicated to protect against these threats.
In Clackamas County, a Silverton man is dead after a two-vehicle crash on Highway 224. It happened after 12:30 on Saturday afternoon at milepost southeast Fall Creek Road near Estacada. Oregon State Police say that an eastbound car was starting to turn into a driveway and hit a westbound motorcycle. The motorcyclist, 71-year-old Richard Detheredge, died at the scene. Police in Northeast Portland are investigating a death. Officers were called to the area of Northeast Fremont and 105th Avenue just before 1 this morning. They found the body of a person there. Information is limited at this point. Portland police ask anyone with any information to contact them.
It's common sense. I've never had someone run their bike into my car and kill me, but vice versa happens a lot.
Neighbors in Southeast Portland raised concerns after a deadly hit and run late Saturday night. A man was hit and killed by a car at Southeast 162nd and Stark Street. Our Sydney Dorner spoke with people in the area who say the intersection is a recipe for disaster.
I spoke with a young man named Phoenix who works at a corner store off Southeast 162nd and Stark Street. He says in the surveillance video, it looked like the driver was going 100 miles per hour, coldly speeding off after the man he hit rolled off the hood. A busy intersection. Southeast 162nd and Stark Street is filled with people commuting on foot and by car. But some people in this area aren't a fan of the intersection, like Louis Hansett, who says he's always nervous when walking there.
It just seems like an unsafe intersection right now. There's a lot of accidents. I've literally had several times where people have almost hit my dog even though she's within 2 feet of me.
Late Saturday night, he saw the aftermath of a hit and run at the Southeast intersection, leaving a man dead by the time officers arrived at the scene.
And I heard a big crash really late at night. I came outside and I didn't really see anything at first, but police showed up very quickly.
This is the 4th pedestrian fatality on Portland roads in just this month. Phoenix, who works at a nearby corner store, says he watched the surveillance video firsthand.
The car hit 2 people and speed off, but it hit a lady and she got up and started running to the dude that was dragged to the intersection on the other side.
Saying the deadly incident got worse and worse as he watched.
He was stuck on the hood and they slowed down a little bit to get him off the car or something. Then they just started speeding again. They just took off. They didn't stop or anything.
Both people I spoke with say these pedestrian traffic deaths could have been avoided.
I feel like they're not doing enough to help anybody. Just have something safer for people or have more cameras on the streets a little bit more.
Where you have to be 6 inches away from where cars are driving to hit the button for walk. How stupid is that?
Hoping the city can find a solution soon.
Instead of catering to the people riding on bikes and putting them out into the street and the intersections, I think we should be catering to the people driving thousands of pounds of steel at high speed.
Now there have been 43 deadly crashes this year in Portland. Police say slightly down compared to last year. Back to you.
New tonight, a street in Aloha was shut down for several hours after a pedestrian was hit by a car. This was around 6:30 on Southwest 185th Avenue between Blanton and Shaw. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says the pedestrian was seriously injured in this crash. The driver did stay on the scene and talked with police. We have an update now to an injury during a performance at Portland Expo Center. Cirque du Soleil says their artist is conscious and stable after falling during a Saturday night showing of Kuza. The entertainment company says it was an aerial hoop artist that got hurt. They say the artist will be monitored by their medical and coaching team to determine when she is going to be able to return to the show. In consumer news, Portland will soon be at the center of a major legal battle. Tomorrow, an Oregon federal court judge will hear evidence involving the proposed merger between Fred Meyer owner Kroger and Safeway owner Albertsons. The FTC is seeking a preliminary injunction to halt the merger before it can complete its internal review of the deal. The challenge has been backed by the state of Oregon, as well as Oregon Senator Ron Wyden and Washington Representative Pramila Jayapal. A coalition of several unions called Stop the Merger will hold a press conference tomorrow morning ahead of the court hearing. And we have a traffic update for TriMet commuters. The agency today rolled out what it says is one of its largest ever service updates. Among the changes, new bus lines, adjusted routes and schedules, and now buses will run in place of trains during the late evening hours. The names of 3 MAX stations were also changed today. TriMet also soft launched its 10-station extension of the MAX Red Line. It officially launches on Wednesday.